Welcome to Confidently Visible, the podcast that helps you move through visibility blocks, including fear, resistance, and overwhelm to share life-changing work with the world and grow your business and attract more beautifully aligned clients that rave about your work. I'm your host, Beck Sands, a visibility mentor, a certified life coach, and an award-winning PR consultant based in sunny Newcastle, Australia. Let me guide you on how to show up as your unique self, to share your incredible work, and to grow your audience with more consistency, ease, and flow. Whether you are a consultant, an entrepreneur, a CEO, a coach, or a creative, this is the space to unlock your uniqueness, to grow your audience, and to make a bigger impact, all while feeling good about being seen. The world needs to hear your message. So let's get started. I am interrupting this podcast episode to share that we have started a waitlist for our upcoming Confidently Visible speakers training sessions that we'll be hosting in Newcastle. Now, at these sessions, we are going to support you to become confidently visible and to hone and refine your presentation style so that you can become the absolute best speaker that you can be and have so much more fun increasing your visibility and building your personal brand, whether you're in a career or business, and growing your profile to attract more beautifully aligned clients and opportunities. So in the speakers training, we will be helping you to increase your visibility to grow a thriving career or business, show potential clients and employers how good you are at speaking, to share your personal brand and expertise through effective presentation, and to support your journey to become a thought leader in your field. If you would like to find out more about when the next speakers training will be held, make sure that you jump on over to becksands.com/speaker training. That's becksands.com/speaker training to jump on the waitlist, and we'll share more details with you then. Now let's get back to the episode. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Confidently Visible podcast. So good to be here with you today. I'm going to be sharing today a bit about how to make personal branding more fun. This is for you if you're feeling like it's a very heavy thing to do, which I know that I have really felt that way in the past as well, that, showing up and being visible and, speaking in front of people and doing podcast interviews and doing live video and all of the things, that it has felt really heavy and really hard, like a really hard thing to do and a really uncomfortable thing to do. And all of these things can make us really not want to do them, or to feel like I just need to wait until I've got more time, or I need to wait until I feel better in some way, more perfect, more knowledgeable, more something. So I feel like if, we're feeling like this, one of the ways that we can kind of switch this mindset and change this so that visibility feels a little bit more easeful is to have more fun with it. And so this is something that is a constant process for me, but I find that when I'm having fun, then my audience is having fun too. I feel like the energy that we put out. So if we're like, oh, this feels so hard and so heavy to show up and this feels so difficult and I just want to get out of here. If we're having that kind of reaction to wherever we're showing up, then of course, your audience, your listeners, your viewers are going to feel like that as well. And so I think that it is so much more productive and it's so much more beneficial for everyone involved if you are actually having fun and enjoying yourself. Now, this takes time. It's not something that will happen overnight necessarily for you. It happens with repetition and getting better and better at what you do, and getting better and better at showing up because you're doing it so often, and learning and iterating and evolving and getting feedback and connecting with your audience and knowing what works and what doesn't. But in saying that, there are so many things that you can do that I can share with you today, that I'm going to share with you today, that can help to speed the process up so that you don't have to take as long as I did to figure all this out and to have more fun with visibility. One of the things that I find that really impacts having fun around visibility is, of course, all of the background stuff that it's required to get you going when it comes to visibility. So things like all of the tech setup when it comes to podcasts, things like, the logistics behind an event, things like organizing and scheduling interviews and all of the background stuff that happens. So all of this can really detract from the joy. And I know you know what I'm talking about if you've been involved in any of the background stuff before when it comes to visibility. Or if you indeed are the person that organizes the behind the scenes of others' visibility. And there's all of that stuff, like all of the logistics that goes on behind the scenes that can really suck the fun out of it sometimes. And so I want you to start to have a think, first and foremost, how can you get support with that, or streamline that or automate that as much as possible so that it doesn't feel so heavy for you, and so that you're not the one having to do a lot of it and having to be in control of it, so that you can let go a little bit and have a bit more fun with it. An example that I want to share with you isn't actually around my visibility, but it's got to do with my wedding, and I think this highlights the point. So my husband and I got married in Byron Bay in 2019, and it was the most beautiful wedding. Like, it was honestly the best day of my life. And one of the things that we've said about that day is that we were both, I wouldn't say super relaxed. Like, obviously, there was still nerves and excitement and anticipation around the day and on the day. But in terms of the logistics of the wedding, we were so relaxed around that because it was like we didn't have to worry. So what we did was we organized everything up until a month out before the wedding, and then we handed it over to an event planner, an event organizer. So we had the best of both worlds in that we were able to organize everything for the wedding and be involved in the planning and selection of every single element, and we were across every single element of the wedding, but we didn't have to deal with the logistics on the day or in the close lead up. So all we had to do was worry about our own stuff, like the dress, getting the dress sized and fitted, making sure that all of the guests were sorted in terms of travel to Byron, making sure that we ourselves had that accommodation, that we had everything planned so that we could spend some really great time with our friends in the lead up to the wedding, all of that kind of stuff. So making sure I had my hairdresser and hair and makeup stylist coming on the day for myself and my bridesmaids, so it was really a weight off to be able to hand that over to a professional events organizer a month out, who could then get across all the logistics. So it wasn't just like we handed it over on the day. She had the knowledge, she had the ability to get across everything in the lead up, so that on the day she was super, it was all streamlined. She knew what was happening. We knew what was happening. We had our wet weather plan. It did rain. We had to implement the wet weather plan. It all worked out perfectly because we had everything sorted and organized in the lead up, and everyone knew what was happening. So on the day, even though there were a few curveballs like the rain, we were able to just go as planned and really be present in the moment and in the day with our friends and family and, for the photography and with each other. And it was just really, really beautiful. And we were able to, guess what? Have fun. So I feel like this is a lesson for everything when it comes to visibility. So how can you streamline things in the background so that you can focus on showing up and having a little bit more fun and allowing the message to flow through you? Now, this is a really key point, and it's one that I chatted about in our speakers training session, which we held as of recording this. We actually held it last week in Newcastle. It was amazing. And, this was one thing that we talked about, is that how can we really show up and know that we're going to be communicating all of the messages that we want to communicate, and without actually reading from a script or reading from something. How can we know that we're going to be able to say everything we want to say? And one of the things that I kind of shared is just that we do need to trust, prepare what you're going to say. Particularly if you're doing something like hosting a workshop or speaking on stage or giving a presentation, that kind of thing. Of course, prepare what you're going to say. But instead of memorizing it, which can sound kind of robotic, or instead of, reading from a script, which also can sound scripted, go figure. How can you just trust that the words will flow through you in the way that they're meant to at the moment in the room with the people that you are presenting to? So even for this podcast, I'm kind of yep, I'll just riff. I know generally what I'm going to say, but then I just trust that whatever comes to mind will be what someone needs to hear that day, right? And so that for me feels so much more enjoyable than trying to stick to a script, and trying to make sure I get across every single bullet point that I am trying to say. Now, obviously, it's a little bit different for a presentation, and that's why we'll have slides so that they can point us in the right direction and help us to not go too far off track if we do start to ramble or go into stories. But, that is just a pointer. So instead of reading off something or, being too kind of concerned with exactly how it's going to come out, it's really about going with the flow and allowing it to flow through you. And when you have all of the logistics set up, when you have, you don't need to be worrying about what's happening behind the scenes or getting it all set up, or if you're not stressing out about all of that, you are able to feel so much more in flow and connected into what you're doing and just feel like you're having so much more fun. So this is where I highly recommend getting some support or streamlining or, doing practice runs or anything that you can do to make sure that you feel confident that when you are showing up, everything is going to be sorted and you've got the support and the tech that you need in order to be able to deliver your message and not feel too stressed. Because I feel like that's one of the things that can really derail us when it comes to visibility, is when things aren't working and then, the stress rises. And it's not a great way to start a presentation with. It's not a great way to start anything with. Sometimes obviously, stuff happens and we have to sort of just allow that to happen and we'll just need to kind of show up anyway. But if you can prevent this as much as possible, so if you can do everything in your power to make sure that, everything's as streamlined as possible so that you can just focus on your own fun and enjoyment of delivering the message and of connecting with your audience and connecting with potential clients and with delivering the message that in a way that just feels like it's flowing through you, then that is such a more enjoyable way to show up and to be visible. And I can guarantee you that when you feel like visibility is fun, when you feel like it's an enjoyable thing to do, you'll be so much more likely to show up and be consistent with it. Consistency, of course, is so key when it comes to building trust and building relationships and building a personal brand and connecting with your audience. So that's, one key thing. Also, consistency is really important for getting better at your craft and at delivering your message. And I do find like speaking is one of those things that it's probably like playing the piano, right? Like you do kind of need to keep doing it and keep practicing regularly. Otherwise, you'll get kind of rusty. And again, it'll be less fun. So make sure that you are doing it consistently and showing up consistently. And that will support you. Just being organized behind the scenes will support you to have more fun when you show up. Another thing that I do to make visibility more enjoyable is I will make sure that I'm doing something fun like straight after. So like if I've got, a half day of podcasts booked in, pre-recorded interviews, anything like that. And then I'm like, okay, so I've got that booked in. How can I, start the day with something that feels really pleasurable and enjoyable to me, and finish the day, finish up and reward myself with something really nice. How can I do that? So I would start, this morning, I knew I had pretty much podcasts all day. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to definitely start the day with a beautiful walk outside. It's really nice and sunny here in Newcastle today. And it has been absolutely torrential with rain over the last week. So I was super excited that, the weather's nice. I'm like, I'm going to get outdoors. I'm going to go for a walk by the beach and get into the sunshine and just have a coffee out by the beach in the sun. And I just felt so nice. And I was like, oh, that's just the perfect way to start the day when I know that I'm going to have to show up, and do podcast episodes in the office for the rest of the day, right? And so that was just a really beautiful way that I could start the day and have it feel really enjoyable for me. And then, of course, after showing up and doing the work, then I will do something enjoyable after this. So we're coming up to lunchtime. So I'm going to record one more podcast ep, and then I'm going to have lunch. And then I've got an event tonight with some friends that I'm going out with in Newcastle. So it's like some entrepreneurial friends. We're all going to an event, and that feels really enjoyable for me as well. Right? So it's just making sure that you've got really nice things that you can kind of bookshelf across your day, and it will help you then to associate visibility with enjoyable things. So that visible task that you might be feeling a little bit like, oh, do I have to do that? Or you might be feeling that kind of heaviness around, or I don't really want to do that, this time. You might feel like you just don't want to show up. And so how can you start to just infuse a little better energy around that so that you can show up with more kind of joy and excitement, if you like. So that's what I do. Another thing that I will do to help make personal branding activities feel more fun is to do the things that I do enjoy more. So I really love doing podcasts. I particularly love doing interview podcasts, but I do find, these are quite honestly, I love connecting with my audience one-on-one, and just being in your ears where hopefully, maybe you're going for a walk right now, or maybe you're sitting in the car and driving somewhere and I'm in your ears, and hello, and thank you so much for having me in your ears right now. It's so nice to be here with you. But, I just love connecting with my audience in that way. But I also really love when I do an interview with a guest, and we can riff off each other and just have that sort of chat and get that insight from someone else. And I love that as well. So, podcasting is obviously something I really enjoy doing, except for the tech setup, if you didn't get that already. which my wonderful husband really helps me with that. And thank you, Andres, if you are listening. You're amazing. But it's just doing those things when it comes to visibility that you do enjoy doing. So some of the affirmations that I have for myself is building my brand is so much fun when I share on the platforms that I enjoy. Building my brand is so much fun when I speak about or share topics that I'm passionate or knowledgeable about. Building my brand is so much fun when I feel like I'm helping and supporting others, which provides me with fulfillment. Building my brand is so much fun when I feel like I'm helping and supporting others, which provides me with fulfillment. Building my brand is so much fun when I have a strategy so that I feel safe around building my personal brand and I know what I'm doing and I'm not constantly second guessing myself or wondering what the next action is. Building my personal brand is so much fun when I'm connecting and engaging with others. Building my personal brand is so much fun when I land new clients or opportunities directly as a result of my personal brand activity. And building my personal brand is so much fun when I keep track of these wins and I celebrate them along the way. So these are some of the rituals and affirmations that I use for myself. So I know that, if I have a strategy, I'm less likely to get shiny object syndrome and I'm more likely to stay on track with my strategy. I'm more likely to know exactly what I'm doing each day, each week, each month, and each year to move the needle forward to where I want to go and to achieve the goals that I want to achieve in my business. I'm not constantly second guessing myself and wondering if I'm doing the right thing when I have a strategy that anchors me into what I'm trying to achieve and how I'm going to achieve it. Obviously, when the incredible results happen in business, like you land new clients and opportunities, which does have a cumulative effect, all of the visibility activities, the PR, the speaking, the podcasts, the networking, the going to events, the media, everything that you're doing has that cumulative effect. So absolutely celebrate those wins, celebrate when you do land the clients, celebrate when you achieve those financial milestones, because often we'll just kind of go, yep, okay, that's done. What's next? And look to what's next. And it's so important to really pause and celebrate all that you've achieved. And then keeping track of those wins. So where are you, keeping track of like the metrics in your business or even just the actions that you're taking? So I find actions are wins. So if I've reached out to 5 potential clients that week, that's a win. So that's going on my metrics tracker. If I have recorded 5 podcasts, that's a win. So that's going on my metrics tracker. So you see how it's like the actions in themselves, which will lead to results, but the actions themselves are wins when you're doing those consistently. So I highly recommend just keeping a spreadsheet of, you could call them key performance indicators, KPIs. I like to go, I've got my KPIs for the year. Like how many events am I going to attend? How many people am I going to reach out to? How many podcasts am I recording per month? All of those things. So you could call them your metrics, key performance indicators. You could call them goals, but just keep track of them essentially. And I update my spreadsheet every single week and just keep track and make sure that I am on track in my business by taking those actions. All right. I feel like I'm just making sure I've covered. Awesome. So before we wrap up, I would love to invite you to just brainstorm your own list. So you've heard my list. What is your own list? Say what would make building a personal brand feel more fun for you. So I invite you to, when you're not driving, when you're not walking, take out your journal and list out some ideas of how you're going to make personal brand building more fun for you, starting with what excites you most. So again, I'm going to share mine. So sharing on platforms that I enjoy, speaking about topics I'm passionate about, feeling like I'm helping and supporting others, that I've got a strategy. I'm connecting, engaging with others. I land new clients or opportunities directly as a result of the visibility actions. And when I keep track of those wins along the way. So what are some things that you can implement to, make personal brand building activities and visibility activities feel more fun for you? And maybe it is also implementing those little rituals around when you show up. So like, for example, going for a walk outdoors after you've done something that feels difficult in your business, or, like relaxing in front of the TV for an hour, or doing something, taking yourself out for a coffee, whatever it is for you. But how can you start to, implement those little rituals that will help you to feel like your personal brand building activities are more enjoyable? And also, how can you be more organized behind the scenes so that you're not stressing over the logistics? The tech, the organization, all of that stuff, which can detract from the peace and the fun around the experience, when what you really want to be doing is focusing on showing up as your best self and allowing that information to flow through you and to your audience. I really hope you have enjoyed and gotten something out of this episode. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, for watching. Like I said, I find it really fun doing podcasts and I love connecting with you. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have the best day ahead. Thank you for tuning in to Confidently Visible. I hope today's conversation inspired you to show up boldly, to share your unique gifts with courage, and to move through the visibility blocks that are holding you back. If you loved this episode, make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast, leave a rating and a review, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. And if you're ready to become confidently visible in your business, head over to becksands.com to join my email list and to connect on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Until next time, keep showing up as the amazing, unique you that the world needs.